Advice: my 27 male, wife, 26 female, had a year-long affair that I discovered. Trying to reconcile with me, I'm still undecided. Greetings to one and everyone. This may turn out to be rather lengthy. From my friend's house, where I will be staying for at least a few days before moving on to a motel for some time, I'm sending this message to you. Unfortunately, I found the existence of this sub after experiencing something that I never in a million years would have imagined happening to me in the first place. My wife of 3 years has been having an affair with a coworker of hers for a year, and I have discovered it. I know him personally. She had left her Gmail account on her laptop, which was still signed in, and I discovered this via it. I had absolutely no intention of examining her email, I just happened to see it there and the content drew my attention. After that, I examined her phone to make sure everything was correct. I'm not going to lie, I was completely taken by surprise by this. We had, or at least had, a nice relationship. We were routinely physical with one another and never really got upset at one another. When we first met in college, we dated for over 2 years before deciding to marry. We were thinking about starting a family in the next year or two now that I have a well-paying work and have made significant success in my professional life. I wasn't at all suspicious of what was going on. She is clever, and she seems to have done a good job of concealing her identity. She never came home late at night, never behaved aloof or cold toward me, and she never had an intimate relationship with me. She never expressed any dissatisfaction or dissatisfaction with our relationship to me at any point. I had no notion there was anything wrong, otherwise I would have attempted to remedy it if I had known. I learned via her messages and emails that they frequently got together during their lunch breaks, or that they left work early and went to a hotel or motel for the night. The other gentleman is not married, but he does have a long-term relationship with another woman. So far, I haven't told her anything, and I haven't talked to the other person. The day before yesterday, I took the day off work, left a note on the table for my wife, and headed to my friend's house. I told him everything. Sure enough, when she returned home, she made a number of phone calls and texted. After a while, I didn't respond, but when I did, she burst into tears and begged me to forgive her, telling me it was a silly mistake and that she would go to any length to make things right. We spoke for a bit, but I didn't say anything really noteworthy, and I haven't determined what I'm going to do next. True, I adore her, but betrayal of any type makes me sick to my stomach, and this is right up there with the worst. The truth is, when I was 18, I slipped into a deep and debilitating depression from which I had to fight my way out. It was the most difficult thing I had ever done. It took me 3 years, and the only thing that helped was physical activity and boxing. And now I'm starting to feel myself falling back into that abyss. Even though I adore her, I have strong feelings of animosity against her and the other man at the same time. I'm wondering whether or not to confront the other person and do him significant harm, but my buddy has recommended that I don't. I'm well aware that my emotions are in control of my actions right now, which is why I wanted to go away from my wife and our apartment for a time in order to enable rationality to at least get a foothold in my thoughts. Seeing her weep would cause me to feel pity for her, which is something I do not want to experience. My rational side is telling me to divorce her right now, but I'm not sure I'm ready to make that decision. My thoughts have turned to whether I will ever be able to put my faith in her again, and I believe the answer is no. Here's the thing, I believe myself to be a fair person, and I always try to view things from both sides of the coin when possible. In my search for infidelity-related communities, I stumbled upon the subreddit r/adultery. I assumed it would be similar to this sub, but I immediately discovered that it was the polar opposite of that. I did, however, look through a few of the messages in the hopes of better understanding my wife's reasons. The majority of the postings were about the excitement of trying something new, the fulfillment that came with it, and attempting to escape the sadness in their marriage, among other things. The point is, and I'm not just saying this, I can't see how any of those issues could have arisen. Despite the fact that my wife has always been clever and mature, I find it difficult to comprehend what has happened to her. It was over the phone that she continuously said that it meant nothing to her and that she regrets it more than anything else. But, then, why are you doing it? When I inquired as to the reason, she just said that she didn't know and that it was a failure in judgment, among other things. A slip of judgment that lasted a year? I'm beginning to doubt everything and wonder whether I've squandered years of my life for nothing. I'm not sure whether I'll ever be able to trust another lady again. Right now, I can't picture myself ever being in a committed romantic relationship again. People aren't perfect, and I'm not stupid enough to believe that they are, but what's the purpose of making a commitment to someone if you're simply going to find someone else? That's all there is to it. I needed to get all of this off my chest someplace, even if it meant posting it online. I'm not sure what my next move will be, but for the time being, I don't think the marriage will endure. Her mother, whom I adore, has phoned me 3 times, but I haven't returned her phone calls. I haven't informed anybody about it except for a close buddy with whom I am now living. I do have screenshots of the emails and messages that were sent between them as evidence in the event that I need it. The short version is as follows: I discovered that my wife had been having an affair for a year via emails and messages. I sent her a letter informing her of all that had happened, and then I departed to stay with a friend. I haven't come across her yet. Even if she is distraught and begging with me to remain together and solve things, it is still too soon for me to make a sensible decision. I think all I'm looking for is some input/advice from more senior/experienced individuals. Edit: I've chosen not to fight the other person. It was just a case of my emotions getting the better of me at that point. I'm going to obtain an STD test and will tell her to do the same. There will be no compromising on this. At the moment, I'm leaning toward divorce since I can't see ever looking at her in the same way again after this experience. I'll need some more time to think about it, and I'll need to have a lengthy conversation with her. Her mother has subsequently messaged me, pleading with me to help contact her daughter. She is a wonderful lady who has always been motherly to me throughout my time knowing her, and I want to contact her as soon as possible to speak with her, before I talk to my wife. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. I truly despise the fact that there are so many comments because it suggests that so many of you, both men and women, have experienced something similar. Posting this here and discussing my experience is assisting me in letting go of everything, and I will inform you all as soon as there is an update. Quick update: so yesterday, I went for a long walk and returned the phone call to my mother-in-law. Quick update: my conversation with her did not go into depth, but I did indicate that her daughter had been seeing someone else behind my back for a significant amount of time. She was obviously distraught, but she did not attempt to coerce me into remaining with my wife, which was a blessing. We chatted for a bit, and she requested me to contact my wife, which I agreed to but stated I'd only do so when I'm ready to speak with someone. I was walking over a bridge on my way back to my friend's house, and I'm not going to lie, there was a brief moment when I considered leaping off the bridge. I convinced myself that it would make things a whole lot simpler. What our brains can conjure up is quite amazing, and I was able to let that concept go almost quickly with a giggle. I'm thinking about sitting down with my wife tonight or tomorrow night and having a conversation about it all. In fact, I'm worried my mind is already made up that I'll be asking for a divorce since I haven't been able to envision a scenario in which I won't feel resentful towards her even if we remain together for a while. I'll give her the opportunity to speak all she feels she needs to say before telling her what I've decided. I'll provide an update once we chat, I'm guessing, depending on what happens.